Please rise. Municipal Court for the City of Stoughton is now in session. The Honorable Matthew T. Rothy presiding.
Please be seated. Please remove hats, silent cell phones, and cease conversations at this time. We'll call the court to order. My name is Matt Rothy. I am the Stoughton Municipal Judge that covers the towns of Dunkirk, Pleasant Springs, and Rutland, along with the City of Stoughton. This is initial appearance night. When your case is called, please come forward. We take people on a first-come, first-served basis. I will review the citation, the fines, and the forfeiture range with you. And then I'll ask you to enter a plea. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. If you enter no contest or guilty plea, I'll review your citation, and if there's a factual basis, I'll find you guilty and impose an appropriate forfeiture. A plea of no contest is similar to a guilty plea, but a conviction arising from a no contest plea cannot be used against you in a later civil action. Let me explain that. Say if you're involved in a traffic accident, you receive a citation for that. If you enter no contest plea to that citation, the person involved in the traffic accident can't use that no contest plea against you if they sue you at a later date. If you're ever in doubt between a no contest or guilty plea, the general consensus is a no contest plea should be issued, given, or should be entered, excuse me. Forfeiture range in these cases range from $20 to $1,000. However, almost all are within the $50 to $200 range. The state mandates we had cost your forfeiture. For example, a $50 forfeiture will result in a total fine to you of $124. I'll grant you 30 days to pay the fine. If you need additional time, please let me know. I have limited options to collect, and I can suspend your driver's license for a year in some cases. I can intercept your tax refund, submit your case to state collections. I'd rather not do that. If you need time to pay, just let me know. We can work out a payment plan. If you plead not guilty, we'll set your case over to next court session for the pretrial conference that's held over the phone with the prosecutor. The date on that pretrial conference is November 1st, 2023. During the phone conference, both you and the city attorney will be able to review the case, discuss it, and see if it can be resolved. If it can, I usually approve it. If not, it comes back to me for a trial. Those of you facing traffic offenses should understand that you lose demerit points upon conviction of most such offenses. If you lose 12 or more points in any 1 year period, you lose your license to drive in Wisconsin. You'll also be fined. I'd like you to be aware of some of your rights before entering a plea. You have a right to ask for a continuance. This means that you can request that your case be set over to another time, either to consult with an attorney or for some other reason. This is civil court. You're not entitled to a public defender, but you may consult with an attorney at your own cost. You also have a right to a trial. Please remember your rights when considering your plea.
This person needs a Spanish interpreter. I don't know if you want to take her first or last.
We'll do the language line. So
First?
let me finish my level. Okay. Those of you charged with operating motor or cited with an operating motor vehicle while under the influence are entitled to request a jury trial in the circuit court upon payment of the proper fees. If you don't make if you have to request a jury trial within 10 days of initial appearance tonight to get a jury trial in the drunk driving cases. If you don't within 10 days, you'll lose your right to a jury trial. All their cases will be handled in this court with the right to appeal my ruling to the circuit court. All right, that concludes my opening remarks. The first case we have is Shanae Enox. Did I say that correctly? Yeah. You want to step up and then step up to the microphone and speak into the microphone. I'll ask you a series of questions if you want to just answer them. We're creating a record, and that's for your benefit. If I make a mistake and you need to appeal me, we always want to make sure we establish a record then. Okay.
She was here initially in May. And,
okay.
Was going to get her stuff straightened out and has been rescheduled a couple times.
Okay. So, do I have your correct address on Hanson Road in Stoughton?
Yes.
Okay. You've been cited for 2 citations. One, operating motor vehicle without insurance. That citation carries a penalty of $124 and zero demerit points issued your driver's license. Now, the forfeit that's at $50 plus costs. The forfeiture range on this, find it. 62.1 is $0 to $500. So you're not at the minimum range, but you're on the low end of the scale. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Your second citation is non-registration of auto. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 0 merit points issued to your driver's license. Now, non-registration of auto, that you're at $30 plus cost. The forfeiture range on this is 0 to 200. So you're not at the minimum, but you're in the one of the scale. You understand that as well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you appeared back in May, and you were given more time to obtain either valid registration or insurance. Do you recall that?
Yes.
All right. Have you had sufficient time to update your license or your registration?
Yeah, and I found out that I can't get reinstated until October the 26th.
Okay. So here's October 26th. So my suggestion would be that we enter a not guilty plea,
Okay.
that we schedule this matter for pre-trial conference with the city attorney on November 1st. That way, if you updated your registration, I'm sure the prosecutor would be interested in that. Does that sound like something you'd like to do?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and enter a not guilty plea, and I'll give you that information in just a minute. Now, we're going to give you a specific time slot on November 1st. Make sure that you call the city prosecutor at that time, because if you don't call, the city prosecutor will tell me that you didn't contact them. I'll find you in default, and I'll find you guilty of those 2 citations. So you want to make sure that you call and just say that if you've updated your registration, I'm sure that they'd be interested in that fact at the time. So.
Okay.
Okay, I will get that information to you in just a minute. If you do manage to if you validate your registration or your if you have proof of that, I'm sure that the city attorney will be interested in that proof as well. Any questions for me?
No.
Okay, we'll have the printouts for the printouts will be the not guilty pleas will be printed. You can hand them to the bailiff, and once you receive them to the bailiff, that will take care of it this evening then.
Okay.
Thank you. That will take care of it this evening. Okay. Jason Knipfer? Kempfer, is that pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
All right. Okay, you're facing, do I have your correct address on State Road 138 in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You received 2 citations. One of them is for operating while under the influence of an intoxicant. That's known as OWI. Now, the penalties on this citation are as follows. It's a total forfeiture of $861. You understand that?
Yes.
And if you're found guilty, it's 6 points issued your license. Now, the forfeiture range on this is about $700 to $1,000. So you're kind of in the middle of the forfeiture range. You understand that as well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you're found guilty, your license will be revoked 6 to 9 months. Now, the revocation period depends on the severity of your blood alcohol content and also if there was any bad driving. Typically, what I do is if you're a 1.5 or lower, it's 6 months. If you're between a 1.5 and 1.9, it's 7 months. If you're a 0.2 or greater, it's 8 months. And if there's any bad driving, I add a month to that revocation period. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. If you're found guilty, you have to attend an alcohol and drug assessment class as well. Now, if your blood alcohol content was a 1.5 or higher, what that means is that I have to order an interlock ignition device be installed on all vehicles registered in your name for a period of 1 year, and any vehicles you drive for a period of 1 year. Do you understand that as well?
Yes.
And in addition to the IID, I also have to surcharge you $50 for that as well. Understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand what operating motor vehicle under the influence is?
Yes.
Okay. Do you need me to read the elements with you?
No, no,
Okay,
sir.
so basically you operate a motor vehicle while under the influence of intoxicant upon roads held out for the premises held out to public use in Wisconsin, or a state highway. Understand that?
Yes.
All right, so I've gone through the penalties. Now, you've also received a second citation for you, and that's operating with a prohibited alcohol concentration. That means basically under Wisconsin law for a first offense, you're operating a motor vehicle on the highways of Wisconsin with a .08 blood alcohol content or higher. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the penalties will be the same. It's the same $861, 6 points, alcohol and drug assessment, 6 to 9 month driver's license revocation, and an IID if you're 1.5 or higher for a surcharge of $50. Do you understand that as well?
Yes.
However, although there are 2 citations, I can only find you guilty of one, and I can find you guilty of both, but I can only impose the penalties for one. So that means that instead of facing, $861 fine and $861 fine, I can only fine you the $861 once, including the driver's license revocation and so forth. Do you understand that?
Yes.
In other words, if you were to challenge this, you have to beat both citations, but I can only penalize you on one. You clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I've gone through the elements, the forfeiture, the penalties, and I also have to advise that if you want a jury trial, you have to file for jury fees. It's $36 within 10 days of today's date. Do you understand that as well?
Yes.
Okay. Any procedural questions for me?
No, sir.
All right. Now's the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
No contest.
You understand with a no contest plea, I'll review the police report, and if there's a factual basis, I'll find you guilty. You understand that?
Yes.
All right, let me review the police report. I want to make sure there's a factual basis. And these police reports are lengthy, so it might take me a couple minutes to read them. Okay, I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your no contest plea and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on a sentence?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll make the findings that I do find not only was there, I found you guilty, but there was reasonable suspicion, probable cause, et cetera. I'll make the finding that your blood alcohol content was a 1.6. That is over the 1.5 limit. So I will order an interlock ignition device be installed in all vehicles registered in your name for a period of 12 months, and any vehicles you drive for 12 months. Now, you can't sit this out. So this IID period starts the moment you get either an occupational license or a regular driver's license. So what I will do is I'll give you information on how to get an occupational license as well. I do find the forfeiture of $861 to be appropriate. Since you're a 1.6, there was no, you were in the wrong lane, but I won't find that to be bad driving. So I'll revoke your driver's license for a period of 7 months. I'll require that you attend an alcohol and drug assessment class, and 6 points issued your driver's license. Let's see. I'll surcharge you the $50, so the total forfeiture will be $911. Do you need time to pay that?
Can I pay that today?
Yeah, I'll give you the forms. You can take that down to the dispatch window. I'll give you 30 days to pay, but if you can pay it today, you can just take the yellow sheet I give you and pay it then. And you're also instructed to call, we have assessment forms. You got to call that assessment number within 72 hours. There's 2 forms of that. You'll sign both of them, and I'll sign both of them, and then that way we keep a copy and you keep a copy, and you can call them directly. So.
Okay.
Thank you. I got that. We'll keep that one. We'll keep that one. Here's the other one. So, okay, great. Okay, I've given you back the forms, including the assessment. Make sure there's a number on there you should call within 72 hours. I've given you the rest of the forms, including how to find again an occupational license. Any questions?
No, sir.
I have one for you. What did you learn?
I learned this is the biggest mistake I've made, and it will never happen again.
Okay. I noticed that you did have a prior one in 2011. This is still an OWI first because it occurred more than 10 years ago. Then if you get caught for OWI again, it will be on OWI third. I believe that's mandatory minimum jail time of 90 days. So just be careful, please.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Drew Opperman. Yeah, check in with you.
Your number 8, you can have a seat for the 8, yeah. You'll be the last one. Thank you.
Mr. Opperman, do I have your correct address on Lake Shore Road in Reedsburg?
Correct. I'll be moving on Sunday, though, so I don't know if the
Okay.
address needs to be updated.
You've been
or not.
cited for non-registration of auto. Citation carries a penalty of $98.80, which is 0 points issued your driver's license. Now, the forfeiture range it's $30 plus cost. Forfeiture range is $0 to $200. Those are the penalties. Do you understand what non-registration of auto is?
Yep.
Have you updated the registration?
Yeah, my car's registered now. It was
Okay.
only like by 3 weeks. or
Did you
something
bring
like that.
proof?
I have a picture of my license.
Yeah,
with the
yeah. If you
sticker
want to
on
give
it.
that your phone to the officer, I'll take a look at that. Oh, you didn't get any type of receipt back?
I did it online, so I don't think I got a receipt back.
I can't check here, I can check in my office.
Okay, so we'll take your word for it, and I'll dismiss the citation based upon your statements. We'll check, and if it turns out that you're not registered, I'll summon you here again just to make sure that you, if you let's put it this way, if you've updated it, I'll continue the dismissal, but if I find for whatever reason that you haven't, then we'll send you a letter and we'll work out where you can appear again.
Yeah, I'll be
then, so.
shocked if it comes
Yeah,
back.
okay, okay. I just want to make sure, but based upon the court's motion, the citation is dismissed.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Receipt.
That just shows that the citation's been dismissed.
Thank you.
Number 4.
I'm going to skip that one.
My son is here and he understands, so I don't know if you want to mention that they'll be last. No.
Okay. Savannah Beckwith? Ms. Beckwith, do I have your correct address on Creedeman Drive in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You've received several citations. I'm going to zip through them. We'll review them one at a time. First one is failure to stop at a stop sign. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 3 demerit points issued your driver's license. Do you understand what failure to stop at a stop sign is?
Yes.
If you're found guilty of the citation, the state mandates you take a mandatory failure to yield class. Not through this, but you'll get notice of that from the DOT. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. The next citation is deviation from designated lane. This citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 4 demerit points issued your driver's license. The forfeiture range on this, it's $30 plus cost. Forfeiture range on this citation $20 to $40. So it's a narrow range. You're right in the middle. You understand that as well?
Yes.
Okay. The next citation is a hit and run vehicle. Let me find that one. Actually, I'm not finding that one. Let's see. I don't have 2 of these citations. No, there's another one. Okay, I'll go back to that one. Okay, so we'll review the hit and run unintended vehicle later. The other one is you've received one citation for operating motor vehicle while under the influence of intoxicant. Do you understand what operating while under the influence of
Yes.
intoxicant is? Okay. Basically, that states that you're operating a motor vehicle on the highways of the state while you're under the influence of an intoxicant or other either drug or alcohol. Now, this citation is the penalties are as follows: so forfeiture of $861. Forfeiture range on this is between $700 and $1,000, depending on the severity. That's a forfeiture range. Now, if you're found guilty, there'd be 6 points assessed against your license, and you have to attend an alcohol and drug assessment class. In addition, their driver's license revocation range is between 6 and 9 months. And when I impose the driver's license revocation, it basically, if you're 1.5 or lower, it's 6 months. If you're 1.5 to 1.9, it's 7 months. If you're 0.2 or higher, it's 8 months. And then if there's any bad driving along with it, then I add an additional month. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In addition, if you're a 1.5 or higher, what happens with that is I must order an interlock ignition device be installed on all vehicles registered in your name for a period of 12 months. And also all vehicles that you drive within that 12-month period. Now, you can't sit that out. It starts once you get your first product, whether that be an occupational license or a regular license. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, all right, ID. Now, you've also faced with operating with a prohibited alcohol concentration. With the prohibited alcohol concentration, And that means your operating motor vehicle while under the, with a prohibited alcohol concentration for a first offense of .08 or higher upon highways of the state. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Penalties are the same. $861, 6 points, AODA assessment, 6 to 9 months, and .15 or higher. In addition, if I have to order an interlock ignition device, I have to surcharge you $50 as well. Understand that?
Yep.
No. I can find you guilty of both citations, but I can only enter penalties on one.
Okay.
So in other words, you have to beat both citations if you want to ever have a trial and be acquitted, but I can only impose the penalties on one. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. We've gone through that. In addition, if you want a jury trial on this, all other cases you can appeal my decision to the circuit court and then start over and then even request a jury trial. But for an OWI, you have to order a jury trial within 10 days of today's date. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you received 2 other citations. Okay, great. Thank you. I'll review those with you in just a minute. Thank you. First one is hit and run unattended vehicle. This citation carries a penalty of 6 points and $187. Do you understand what hit and run an unattended vehicle is?
Yes.
All right. You don't need me to review the elements with you?
No.
All right. The forfeiture range on that is I believe it's $0 to $500, but let me check. In other words, if I see a basis, I can reduce it, the forfeiture, but if there's a basis, I can also go higher. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. You have $0 to $200, not $0 to $500. Okay. Another citation is failure to keep vehicle under control. That citation carries a penalty of 4 points and $136.60. Do you understand what failure to keep vehicle under control is?
Yes.
All right. Now, that's $60 plus costs. Forfeiture range on this is as follows. 647.2. It is speeding book comes $40 to $300. So you're not at the minimum, but you're on the lower end of the scale. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, that concludes my explanation of the 6 citations. I cannot reduce any of them or dismiss any of them. I can maybe reduce some of the forfeitures, but if you enter a no contest plea, I have to find you guilty of all 6. My suggestion would be to enter a not guilty plea and talk to the prosecutor to see if you can reach a deal or reach an agreement regarding all 6 citations. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
And we'll go ahead and enter a not guilty plea. We'll schedule the pretrial conference for that November 1st date. Make sure, we'll give you the notice in just a minute.
Okay.
Make sure that you attend that pretrial conference and make the call at the time, because if you don't, the city prosecutor will tell me that you didn't call. I'll find you in default and I'll find you guilty and I'll impose all those forfeitures. And that is a lot. I mean, that's 6 points. That would be, you would have your driver's license suspended on the point total as well, and I would have to go off the police report about what to revoke you. So make sure that you make that call.
Okay.
And then, so basically what happens is if the prosecutor and you reach a deal, I'll review the deal, and if I approve it, then the case is resolved. If not, if you can't reach a deal, then it comes back to me for a trial. At the trial, I'll hear the evidence from the city, I'll hear your evidence, and I make my ruling based upon the facts I've heard at the trial.
Okay.
Okay. Any procedural questions for me?
No, sir.
All right. You'll get the notice in just a minute for the pretrial conference. Once you receive that, that will take care of it for this evening then.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Chad Gallagher? Mr. Gallagher, do I have your correct address on Leslie Road in Stoughton?
No,
What's your address?
1397 Ramsey Road, Stoughton.
All right. You've been cited for operator violating a red traffic light. This citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 3 demerit points issued to your driver's license. Do you understand what operator violate a red traffic light is?
Yes.
Okay, you don't need me to review the elements with you?
No.
All right. Forfeiture range on this is $20 to $40, and you're at $30 plus cost. You're right in the middle of a narrow range. You understand that as well?
Yes.
All right. In addition, there's certain citations that usually fail to yield. There's this one that's... Sometimes, for some of these citations, if you're found guilty, you have to take a class. I don't remember if this one is or not.
In front of your book, your bond book.
Oh, my bond. Let me double check that.
It looks like yes.
Yes, there it is. Yeah, if you're found guilty, then you would have to take a class from the DOT. The DOT will send a notice. If you don't take it, your driver's license gets suspended. You understand that as well?
Yes.
All right. Any questions for me?
I had a ladder in the back.
Well, hang on.
Okay,
I can't
sorry.
hear any facts. My suggestion would be if you've got any type of defense that's enter a not guilty plea to talk about a prosecutor.
I was just here for the points, that's all. I don't.
Well, I can't reduce the forfeiture from this. I can for speeding and for like non-registration.
Oh.
But my suggestion would be that you enter a not guilty plea. You can just make a quick phone call with the prosecutor November 1st. So
Let's do that then.
Okay. Okay. Make sure that you make that call, because otherwise they'll report. They'll find. They'll tell me they didn't call.
Yeah.
I'll find a default, and I'll impose the penalties. But with these, make sure that you call and just explain what happened, and see if you can reach it. If you can, they'll report it. And on something like this, more than likely, I don't think I've ever. The only ones I ever question are drunk drivings, but this
Right.
one is fine. So, but if you can't, you can come back here for a trial and I can hear
All
the
right.
evidence. Then.
Thank
So,
you.
Once you receive the notice, then you're free to go. So
All right,
thank you.
Thank you.
That's the information for the class.
Lawrence McDonald. Do I have your correct address, Mr. McDonald, at State Road 59 in Evansville?
Yes.
All right. You received a citation for operating motor vehicle without proof of insurance. The citation carries a penalty of $10. $10 is the range. Have you obtained valid insurance?
Yes.
All right. Do you want to hand that to the bailiff and I'll take a look at it? All right. Good policy, and you did so right away?
Yeah.
All right. Based on our goal is to make sure that people are insured. You've proved your insurance on the court's motion. The court will dismiss the citation.
Thank you.
I'll give you dismissal paperwork and just submit it. Once you receive that, that will take care of it this evening then. All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. Thanks.
That's the right things with the tracks, but thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll update our records with whoever wrote the ticket, issued it, so awesome.
Okay.
No, yeah, he can have that, well, it's K-N-I. Thank you. No, thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Luz Esther Maria? Yeah, ready for the language, huh?
And then the other guy.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Hi, are you Miss Maria?
Hi.
Do you need an interpreter?
My son?
Oh, okay. You want to step forward? I'm also going to use a language line for her.
All right, yeah.
Oh,
For Spanish, press 1. For other, please enter access code followed by the pound sign.
It'll be just a minute. Un momento.
Thank you for calling Language Line Solutions. This is Mariana Haley, ID 262-925. I'm your Spanish interpreter today. I'm proud to serve you. This call may be monitored for training and quality assurance purposes. Hello, is your customer with you?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
should we call John?
No, I think he left. Damn. Yeah,
Oh, we hang up and try again.
okay. Hello? Are you still there? Hello?
Is this a language line?
There you go.
Sorry, we thought we disconnected you. We're having trouble hearing you. Is it okay if you speak up a little bit?
Absolutely. I can speak up for you, sir.
Great, thank you. So, my name is Matt Rothe. I'm the Stoughton, Wisconsin Municipal Court judge. And actually, I have a defendant here who does not speak any English, and you'll be able to translate for us?
Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay, if you could stand, I've got an oath for you to stand. Are you ready? Do you
Yes.
solemnly swear or affirm that you will truly interpret from the English language to the Spanish language, and from the Spanish to the English language, a true and accurate interpretation of what is said?
Yes, I swear.
Okay, thank you. I'm seated, and you can be seated as well. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with tonight?
Saludos, seré el intérprete para español. Interpreto. ¿Con quién tengo el placer de hablar esta noche?
Saludos, mi nombre es Luz Estel María.
Greetings, my name is Lucente Maria.
Okay. Miss Maria, my name is Matt Rothe, and I'm the municipal judge. Do you understand that?
Señorita María, mi nombre es Matt Rofi, soy el juez municipal. ¿Entiende eso?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Do I have your correct address on Jackson Street in Stoughton?
¿Tengo su dirección correcta de Jackson Street en Stoughton?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
You've been cited for speeding on a city highway.
¿Ha sido usted citada por alta velocidad en una autopista de la ciudad?
Yes, sir.
20 to 24 over the limit.
20 a 24 por encima del límite.
¿Puedo hablar, decirle algo?
May I speak? Can I say something?
Not yet, I'm just explaining the citation to her.
Todavía no, solamente le estoy explicando esta citación.
Okay, yes.
Okay. For speeding cases, when there's 20 to 24 over, that's 6 points issued your driver's license.
Cuando son casos de alta velocidad por encima de 20 a 24, esos son 6 puntos que se emiten hacia su licencia de conducción.
You understand
Yes,
that?
yes, sir.
Okay. In Wisconsin, you cannot accumulate 12 points in a year.
En Wisconsin no puede acumular 12 puntos en un año.
The penalty for this citation is $149.20.
La penalidad para esta citación es de $149.20.
Understand?
¿Entendido?
Yes, sir.
That is $70 plus costs.
Eso es $70 más costos.
Understand?
¿Entendido?
Yes, sir.
The forfeiture range for these speeding citations are $30 to $300.
Para este tanto, los rangos por estas citaciones de alta velocidad son de $30 a $300.
I can go down to $30 or I can go up to $300 depending on the facts and circumstances.
Puedo subir, puedo bajar, puedo llegar hasta $300. Va a depender de los hechos y circunstancias.
Entiende?
Sí, señor.
She's nodding, so sorry, I learned that one from you. Thank you. Now, Wisconsin has 3 sets of speeding citations.
Ahora, Wisconsin tiene 3 sets de citaciones de alta velocidad.
The first is 20 or more over the limit, which is 6 points.
El primero es 20 o más por encima del límite, lo cual es 6 puntos.
11 to 19 over is 4 points.
De 11 a 19 más por encima son 4 puntos.
And 1 to 10 is 3 points.
Y de 1 a 10 son 3 puntos.
My policy is I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway in cases like this.
Para mis políticas doy un mal visto de hasta 10 millas en casos como este.
I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway for all speeding citations.
Doy digamos, mal visto de hasta 10 millas para todas las citaciones de velocidad.
So for your citation, I would reduce this from 20 over to 11 and 19 over, which would result in 4 points instead of 6.
Entonces, para la citación de usted, como estoy mal viendo 10 millas, bajo 10 millas, lo cual le reduciría el de 20 y más hacia el de 11 a 19, ese resultaría en 4 puntos en vez de 6 puntos.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
¿Entendido?
Yeah, she already said yes, sir, so, okay. Do you understand what the speeding citation is?
¿Y entiende lo que es la citación de alta velocidad?
Yes, sir.
Okay, she nodded her head yes and said yes. Okay. You have any questions for me before entering a plea?
De acuerdo. ¿Me tiene alguna pregunta antes de que ingresemos una declaración?
¿Puedo explicar? Yo
Can I
trabajo...
explain?
So normally what happens is the prosecutor is not here, and I can't hear explanations then. So there, if you want, why don't you explain that, and then I'll go into the details later.
Normalmente lo que pasa es que aquí no está el fiscal y normalmente no puedo escuchar explicaciones aquí.
If you have any doubt about the citation, you should enter a not guilty plea.
Si tiene usted alguna duda sobre la citación, deberá ingresar una declaración de no culpable.
With a no contest or not guilty plea, you'd have the opportunity to discuss this case with the prosecutor on November 1st.
Con una declaración de no contestación o más bien de no culpable, va a tener la oportunidad de platicar esto el 1 de noviembre con el fiscal.
If you enter a no contest or guilty plea to the 11 and 19 or 4 points, then I could hear any possible explanations, but you have to be found guilty first.
Pero si ingresa usted la declaración no contestación o no culpable al de los 11 a 19 y 4 puntos, podré escuchar la declaración, pero primero tendría que ser hallada culpable.
Do you understand that? Could you hear?
No
She
entiendo.
couldn't. You blanked out for a second. It was hard to hear you. Do you want me to repeat that again?
¿Desea que le vuelva a repetir?
Por favor, sí.
Please.
Oh, so if you enter a not guilty plea, you can speak to the prosecutor.
Si ingresa usted una declaración de no culpable, puede hablar con el fiscal.
If you enter a no contest or guilty plea to the 4-point citation 11 and 19 over, then I could hear your explanation, but you have to be found guilty first.
Si usted ingresa una declaración no contestación o no culpable a la citación de 11 a 19 con 4 puntos, podré escuchar su explicación, pero primero tendría que ser hallada culpable.
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
¿Entiende eso?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions for me?
¿Alguna otra
Claro.
pregunta para mí?
¿Qué hago?
Que sí. No.
Okay.
No.
Now is the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Ahora es el momento en que voy a tomar su declaración. Sus 3 opciones de declaración son culpable, no contestación o no culpable.
Would you like me to explain the plea options to you?
¿Desea que le explique yo las opciones de declaración?
Please.
Okay. A guilty plea means that you're admitting guilt and want to be found guilty 11 to 19 over, and I would find you guilty.
Culpable significa que usted está admitiendo su culpa, que quiere que nosotros le hallemos culpable para el 11 a 19 y con eso yo voy a estar admitiendo su culpabilidad.
You understand that? A no contest.
¿Entiende eso?
Yeah, she nodded, so I'll note that for the record. A no contest plea is where you're not admitting guilt, but you want the case to be resolved tonight and are willing to accept being found guilty.
La declaración de no contestación es que no está admitiendo ser culpable, sin embargo quiere que su caso sea resuelto esta noche y estaría de acuerdo en ser hallada culpable.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Disculpe,
Okay.
¿entiende?
She said yes, sir. So, all right. A not guilty plea means that you don't believe you committed the citation, or that the city couldn't prove your case, or that you would like to speak to the prosecutor.
La declaración de no culpable significa que usted no cree que haya cometido esto y que no desea que le hallen culpable en la ciudad y que desea hablar con el fiscal.
Okay, you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now,
¿Entendido?
I cannot hear your explanation until you're found guilty because the prosecutor is not here.
Ahora bien, yo no puedo escuchar su explicación porque no ha sido hallada culpable aún porque aquí no está el fiscal.
I can't judge cases before I hear the facts, and if one side tells me an explanation of what happened, I would have to step down as judge and have another judge hear this case.
O sea, no puedo yo juzgar cuando no he escuchado los hechos y bases de esto y no puedo pasarme a poner a alguien culpable. Tendría yo que retirarme para que escuche otro juez este caso.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
¿Me entiende?
She said yes, sir. You can always, if you're found guilty, either with a no contest or guilty plea, then I can hear any explanation you would like to give me.
Si es hallada culpable, da usted una declaración de no contestación o de no culpable y entonces podrá usted dar la explicación que desee que yo escuche.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Now would be the time. Any other questions for me?
¿Alguna otra pregunta para mí?
She's shaking her
No.
head no. So now would be the time I take your plea: guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Ahora es el momento en el que tomo su declaración, culpable, no contestación o no culpable.
No culpable.
Not guilty.
Okay.
¿Por qué?
Porque tú estabas yendo rápido, mamá. Él te bajó hasta los puntos y todo.
She's talking with her son.
Después tiene que venir otro día.
Pero porque yo tenía 4 puntos, yo no estaba yendo rápido. Yo estaba en 35 y mi policía estaba en 25, pero yo de una vez que yo bajé de 35, estaba en 25 ahí mismo.
Es que estaba 25, es culpable. Voy a poner
I can
Culpable.
I can enter a not guilty plea, and then there's an explanation of that in Spanish in front of you. And then I could enter a not guilty plea, and we could indicate to the prosecutor that we could bring a translator and use the language line again if you want to meet with the prosecutor on November 1st.
De acuerdo, puedo ingresar su declaración de no culpable indicando que quiere usted hablar con el fiscal. Vamos a pedir hablar a través de un traductor como lo estamos haciendo ahora de Language Line y para el 1 de noviembre se podrá reunir con el fiscal.
Okay.
Okay. We'll go ahead and enter a not guilty plea.
Vamos a ingresar una declaración de no culpable.
A question, please.
You have a question?
Yes.
Okay.
Usted me bajó los puntos de 4, entonces si el fiscal me declara culpable, ¿es los 4 puntos o me da los 6?
So you lowered the points to 4, but if the prosecutor finds me guilty, is it going to be as well 4 points or 6?
The prosecutor can't find you guilty. He would make an offer, and they would start with, it would not be 6. The same offer would stand to the prosecutor, and they would probably offer 4.
El fiscal no la puede hallar culpable. Él puede dar una oferta de declaración para usted y se tiene que mantener para 4 puntos. Igual es lo más probable que sean 4, no puede dar 6.
Okay?
Okay.
¿De acuerdo?
Okay. We will go ahead and enter a not guilty plea. We'll give her the information on how to call. Now, we'll make a note of it to the prosecutor that the language line or Spanish interpreter is to be needed. And I'll let the prosecutor, they handle these phone calls, they handle these pre-trials by the phone call, but we'll make sure that you have an interpreter as well.
De acuerdo, entonces ingresamos su declaración de no culpable, nos aseguraremos de que el fiscal tenga para hablar con usted, que utilice una línea, como hicimos ahorita, de para español o de language line, nos aseguraremos que tenga esa llamada.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to give you the pretrial conference note on November 1st. Make sure that you call, otherwise you'll be found guilty, and let me know if you have any questions.
Le voy a dar entonces esa nota aviso para la llamada de conferencia previo al juicio y me hace saber si tiene alguna inquietud.
Thank you.
All right, that will take care of it for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Eso sería todo por esta noche. Gracias.
All right, she's leaving the courtroom. Thank you very much.
Be well. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
This guy is Jeremy, G-R-O something, G-R-O-Z-A-V-E-S, page 3, second one.
Jeremy Grozovsky? How close? All right, good. All right, let me pull up your report. All right, Mr. Grozovsky, Grovazescu. Grovazescu. Hard to pronounce it, especially when I've been talking for an hour. Do you have your correct address on in Bantry Lane in Fitchburg?
That is correct.
All right. You've been cited for operating a motor vehicle or non-registration of auto. The citation carries a penalty of $98.80. $30 plus cost is the range. Now the range is $0 to $200. So you're not the minimum, but you're on the low end of the range. You understand that?
Yes.
Did you update your registration on your vehicle?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you have proof? I saw. Did you have it on the phone?
Yes.
You might just give the phone to the bailiff, and then he'll give it to me. Okay, there it is. Done.
I also have an email receipt if you need to see that as well.
Did you update your registration soon after you were
The cop was still behind me.
Okay, good. That's even better. So, all right, the court's goal on these citations is to make sure the cars are registered. You've done so. So on the court's own motion, the court will dismiss the citation, and we'll give you a copy of that dismissal paperwork in just a second. Once you receive that, that will take care of it this evening then.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Have a nice rest of your night.
Thank you, you too. I'll note for the record that the time is 5:55. We have a restitution at 6 o'clock, restitution hearing. Court is adjourned for approximately 5 minutes. return to session at this time.
The defendant was summoned personally.
Okay.
Person served to be here, so he did sign that he received it.
Can I see the service? Where's the service?
They messed up the form. The police officer was supposed to sign it, but he signed it.
The proof of service was signed by.
Right.
Okay.
So, you know, he saw it. And this is the victim's father here, and that's their
All right.
request for.
Okay, we're going to call the case of City of Stoughton versus Dennis D. Swenson. Is Mr. Swenson in the courtroom today? Okay. I typically give the defendants 15 minutes to appear. Why don't you tell me your name for the record, sir?
My name is Stephen Richards.
Okay.
Piece of paper here if you want.
Is red on?
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. And then you requested a restitution request against Mr. Swenson?
Yes.
Okay. I have an affidavit and request for restitution. It's your signature on September 21st, 2023. Is that your signature?
I'm sorry, do you mean July 21st?
Yeah, I'm sorry. July 21st, 2023. I have an affidavit and request for restitution from Stephen Richards' parent. That's you?
That is.
Okay. All right.
Copies were all provided to the defendant of all of that for their contact information.
Okay. Mr. Swenson is found guilty.
Yes. He, by default. He called and requested an extension to pay the fine, which was today is the due date. He has not paid that yet.
All right, I've already called the case of City of Stoughton versus Dennis Swenson. I'll note that for the record that at 6/6/13, Mr. Swenson does not appear, but I noticed for the record that Stephen Richards is here. You've submitted, Mr. Richards, you've submitted an affidavit and request for restitution.
That is correct.
Okay, and the amount of the damages were $276.41.
That is correct.
Okay. You've submitted in here, I've read the police report. It appears as if Mr. Swenson, according to the police report, threw your son's skateboard into the Yahara River. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you submitted statements which shows that the replacement, the complete skateboard has been discontinued. Actually, you have a copy of the restitution request?
I do, yes.
Okay. Let me have you stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Go ahead and state your name for the record.
Stephen Richards.
Okay. And you have an affidavit and submitted the cost of the skateboard?
Yes,
I
sir.
have a copy of those documents. You can be seated.
Okay.
If you want to just explain to me what each of those items are.
Yes, so skateboards can often be purchased as a complete. They're usually discounted, but you don't have the flexibility to choose the components. His deck was 2 years vintage at this point, and that package is no longer available. So we went through the internet and found different sources to put all the components back together. So the price is a little bit higher than what a skateboard might be, but we've provided some pricing from different shopping sources on the internet that have listed all the prices. This was as of July, so not sure if the pricing is still accurate or not. And so we've listed out each of the components to replicate what would be considered a complete skateboard.
Please describe to the court what the components are.
So the first item is the deck, which is the plywood that they ride on. It's made by the brand Almost. It's a Rodney Mullen Rock is King model, and this is listed for $115 plus $10 in shipping. The next item is for the trucks. The brand is Independent, and a set of 2 of them is listed at $52.95. 2 are required for a skateboard. The next item are the wheels made by Bones. These are listed at $41.95 for a set of 4. And the next item then is the bearings that go inside the wheels. These are made by Bones as well. They're red skate bearings, 16-pack, which is required for the skateboard at $35.90. And the last item was for the custom hardware that he had. He had a colored hardware to secure the trucks to the board, and those are listed at $6.20.
Okay. And there was a tax. Was there any tax?
Yeah, 5.5% Wisconsin sales tax.
It's listed on the restitution request. Have you already made that calculation?
Yes.
And what is that tax?
$14.41.
Total amount you're requesting in restitution?
$276.41.
Anything else? And so, because the skateboard was thrown in the river, your son was deprived of the use?
Yes, we went to retrieve it the following day, and my son estimated that it was in the water by about 10 feet. When we got there, he showed me about how far it was. It was closer to about 15 to 20 feet. I had him take his shoes off and take a step into the water. We brought a rake to try to retrieve it. Within a step or so, he was starting to get up to his knees, and I opted over his safety rather than the retrieval of the skateboard.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to testify on in this matter?
We're just trying to replace the skateboard that he had and hasn't had since this happened.
And now, normally I'd open up the questioning for Mr. Swenson, but due to the fact he's not here, there will be no. The cross-examination is closed. Any other witnesses you'd like to present?
I don't have any tonight, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. We'll close the evidence, and the testimony included arguments as well. So I'll find that the defendant's already been found guilty of criminal damage to property. I'll find that the request for restitution in the amount of $276.41 is reasonable. I've received the receipts. The court already has a record of the documents submitted. The court will order restitution against Mr. Swenson in the amount of $276.41. We'll add that to the fine. Any amount that's collected the restitution will be paid first, and the fine will be considered second. Mr. Swenson put in a request to for an extension of the fine. That request is denied. He should have appeared tonight and appeared for the restitution hearing. And I find that I've reviewed the police report and do find that there was a sufficient basis not only for the restitution, but for the criminal damage to property as well.
Is that Stephen, S-T-E-P-H?
Steven Richards, is that correct?
That is correct.
Or restitution to Mr. Richards, since he's offered the proof. All right, we'll grant him 60 days to pay. We've denied it.
Just so he knows, the only collection effort we have is to go through SDC, so if it, it may take a long time.
We have the collection efforts we go through is for the state collection services, and it may take a while. We'll make sure
Understood.
We'll supply that to him, so. All right, anything else, Mr. Stevens?
No,
Or
that's
Mr. Richards, I'm sorry, Stephen Richards, sorry.
That's fine. No, we're good, thank you.
All right, that will conclude the restitution hearing, then. Thank you for coming in
Great,
tonight.
thank you.
That's it, just for defaults.
Okay, we'll zip through the defaults.
You don't need him to stick around.
No. Told you.
You're good. You know your clientele.
Actually, not clientele, constituents, actually. Thank you. All right, Jose Alvarado Martinez is a default judgment.
Too much paperwork.
Yeah. Eniel Arazus Maldonado is a bond forfeiture on both citations. Yanida Baez Lopez is a bond forfeiture. Jeremy Bender is a bond forfeiture. Alexander Benoklin is a bond forfeiture, both citations. Christopher Bird is a bond forfeiture. Tyler Blakely is a default judgment on both citations. Jack Conant is a default judgment. Dylan Crank is a default judgment. Carl Danielson is a default judgment. Dalton Deck is a default judgment. Isabel Daskosil.
I mean, it's up to you, obviously. She's entering no contest. Put this on here that she got her license in 1 to 2 weeks. I checked on the internet. It was actually 3 weeks after the date of violation, but she still drove.
Say or not guilty, please.
Not guilty?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Timothy Dowden is a bond forfeiture. James Dowling is a default judgment. Cale Drierson, it's a default judgment on both citations.
Do you want his total?
Yeah.
Bring him up. He hasn't made any payments. Come on. Okay. Computer is spinning. With those two, $7,169.60.
How much?
$7,169.60. He was supposed to start payment plan 7 September 1, and he has not made any payments, so it's actually been a month and a half.
back on the record. Let's see, we are up to Kylie Fountain, it's a default judgment. Tyler Friedrichs is a default judgment. Jason Golke is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Catherine Gower is a default judgment. Brandy Graham is a default judgment. Denise Green is a default judgment. Hallie Hack is a default judgment. Andrew Hahn is a bond forfeiture. Riley Hebel is a default judgment. Emma Hilmer is a default judgment. Jeffrey Hitchcock is a default judgment. Ariana Howell is a default judgment. Christopher Huggett is a bond forfeiture. Kyla Hutter is a default judgment. Nicole Johnson is a bond forfeiture. Amanda Johnson is a default judgment. David Johnson is a bond forfeiture. Paige Johnson is a default judgment. Galvez Reyes Julio Caesar is a default judgment. Jacob Cast is a default judgment. Adam Lawrence is a bond forfeiture. Cheryl Lennon is a bond forfeiture. Alex Mann is a default judgment. Luis Esther Maria entered a not guilty plea. Cody Maynard is a default judgment. Julie McAllister is a bond forfeiture for both sides. Or what's that?
Just for one, there were 2.
Bond forfeiture, and will default her on the other 3. Patrick McDavid is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Priscilla Medina is a bond, or default judgment, excuse me. Jose Ramon Milan Colon is a bond forfeiture on both. Lonnie Miller is a default judgment on both. Mark Moffett is a default judgment. Aaron Nash is a default judgment. Benjamin Nelson is a default judgment. Mark Nelson is a default judgment. Ryan Christopher Ortega Hernandez is a bond forfeiture on both citations. Jonathan Ortiz Irizarry is a default judgment. Courtney Palmer Hohen is a default judgment. Connie Poster is a default judgment. Joshua Reeves is a default judgment on both citations. Tina Rice is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Antonio Rivera is a bond forfeiture. Anthony Robinson is a default judgment. Deanna Shepard is a default judgment. Austin Sieber is a default judgment. Michael Schneider is a default judgment. Nathan Sullivan is a bond forfeiture. Blake Swalheim is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Mark Swart is a bond forfeiture on both citations. Percy Teague is a default judgment. Well, I'll leave it up for restitution if they want to file. On both citations, Nathaniel Tierman is a default judgment. Reed Tice is a default judgment. Jorge Torres Pinheiro is a default judgment. Jacques View is a bond forfeiture. John Wary is a default judgment on both citations. Alexander White is a default judgment. Howell Yong is a bond forfeiture, and Cole Ziegler is a bond forfeiture. Covers all of them. Let me check something.